understanding and targeting the right grant. Over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Muthu Singaram, as well as Archana for putting this together. I have the utmost regards for HTIC that I visited a couple of times a few years ago, and it's a great honor and opportunity to come to present to you all. Although the topic says only grants, Dr. Singaram, please allow me to not only speak about grants, but also a little bit about how should entrepreneurs go about putting a good pitch together that will help them when they go to talk to grants as well as funding.
Absolutely,
Because I
absolutely.
think funding,
Whatever you
if you
feel is
don't,
no, whatever you feel is going to help them, we are more than happy to take your advice
okay, sir.
because you are the guru of this.
No, no, I'm not a guru. I have a long way to go, but I think I will not lose this opportunity to share my own learnings. I've made many more mistakes than I've done things right. So I want to share
Good.
those mistakes more than anything else. Okay, so the flow of the talk is to get first to brass tacks is what are the research grants that support medical devices. There's been a lot of talk about medical devices, a great time in the country to do medical devices, but also a very dangerous time to do medical devices if you do not know your sources of funding and you don't have somebody in the team that is almost completely 100% focused on how you're going to get funding in terms of equity and grants. I've used the word grants and equity interchangeably. Grants means things like DBT funding, Welcome Trust funding, where you don't give up equity. Equity-based funding is when you go to an investor to collect funding. All of our companies, all of you who are on the call and me, will be a combination of grants and equity. And it's nice to have a healthy mix of both. I also want to share some examples of companies that have successfully navigated the grants terrain, particularly two in devices, and then I'll talk a little bit about Bugworks. And then I'm going to take some time to talk about a 5-minute pitch because I sit on many, many boards. I advise many companies, particularly in the devices spaces, and I find often that the entrepreneurs are missing out that 5-minute pitch concept. And by the way, that 5-minute pitch concept will help you whether it's for grants or if you're going to investors outside. Because finally, people's emotions are the same. People's attention spans are the same. So we have 5 minutes in which we have to communicate what we want to. And then I want to speak about some broad guidelines in closing funding for life sciences companies. Please understand as devices entrepreneurs, and I'm in life sciences like you all, except I'm in drug discovery, which is probably one step even harder in terms of funding simply because of the number of years. We have to navigate several valleys of death. The first valley of death is the easiest valley of death, which is technology valley of death, taking an early stage idea and bringing it to some proof of principle. The second one is taking the proof of principle and converting it into proof of concept that translates. And the third and most difficult one is how to take this to market and make money. The single biggest issue for medical devices companies in India is not Valley 1 and Valley 2. You all are two very, very smart. You crack a problem, you put teams together, etc. But having someone focused on raising money and understanding who your end customers and who is going to take you to market while you're developing your technology is key. So here are some of research grants that I've put together by talking to several devices companies. I sit in Bangalore out of CCAMP, Center for Cellular and Molecular Platforms. So we work with several devices companies. I will start with the well-known grants and then move over to esoteric ones. DBT BIRAC research grants are the key ones for most of us to get going. They are not the end all, they are only an initiation grant. That's DBT BIRAC, BIG, which is the Biotech Ignition Grant. There's SIBRI, that several of you would have written for small businesses. And there's also a DBT BIRAC Sitare Gandhian Young Technological Innovation Award. I myself, Dr. Singar, I'm going through this preparation for today. I came across many grants that I myself didn't know about when I went about talking to a very wide range of people in the devices spaces. So I must thank this opportunity because even I came to know of many things of grants, apart from the regular standard ones. Here is one, the Sitare grant. Then this DBT BIRAC promoting via academic research conversion to enterprise called PACE. DBT BIRAC in partnership with Welcome Trust that is constantly looking at devices. DBT BIRAC Product Commercialization Program Fund, PCP fund that has started looking at devices. I'm not saying all of these are available at the same time, but this is a master collection. Grant Challenges India by Department of Biotechnology and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that definitely has diagnostics and devices. as a focus, not drug discovery. And the DBT BIRAC Rapid USAID TB Diagnostics Program focus on diagnostics, particularly in tuberculosis, which is a key area for them. I see lots of these programs coming out for devices and diagnostics. And then there is also a new DBT BIRAC Biopharmaceuticals Innovate in India I3. Like I said, some of these or most of these may be applicable to you, but not all will be applicable to you, but that doesn't matter. There are more national grants approached by devices companies. The India Innovation Growth Program, IIGP DST, where Lockheed Martin from the United States and Tata Trust are coming together, and they fund up to 25 lakhs of startups industry. One of the companies that I mentor has been able to win this. There's also the Millennium Alliance from DST and FICCI, which goes from 25 lakhs to 1 crore. And the starting point for many grants can be the Biotech Association grant, which is called ABLE, Association for Biotech-Led Enterprises. ABLE is the Biotech Association of India, and they have a program called BEST for students. And you start with 5 lakhs, small amount, but they really help you with mentoring, etc. Remember, a grant is not just about the money. It's about the credibility that you get by winning it, the discipline that it brings about in writing a grant application together, the hard questions that you will be asked by tough grant programs where competitive, all of these are competitive grants. The networks that these grants will open up for us, those are far more valuable in terms of multiplier effect than the actual cash. And then there is a Design Impact Award. Here is another one I didn't even know exists for Titan and Tata Trust that's focused on devices. And then the Nidhi Prayos, which is a prototyping grant, is only from early stage to prototype is 10 lakhs. And most recently, CCAMP, where I sit, has an NBEC, where they are investing up to 50 lakhs, 15 lakhs in awards, grants, and 15 lakhs in investment, called the NBEC grant. I don't know what NBEC stands for, from CCAMP. And one of the other companies that I co-founded, BioMonitor, has been funded through NBEC. So it's very interesting to see that you actually have a pretty good palette. And there's one person in your team that needs to focus on writing good grants, talk to experts in Bangalore, in Chennai, in Hyderabad, these markets, to help you package good grant applications. Do not assume that all scientists and engineers and technologies are good grant writers. Writing a grant takes program management skill, good writing skills, good communication skills. So focus on paying someone decent amount of money and have them on your team as grant specialists and grant writers. Other grant avenues for devices. Government of India, Department of Electronics and Information Technology. I have never used DATI, but apparently so. And there's something called GITA that some of you may or may not even know, called the Global Innovation and Technology Alliance, that's looking at devices now. And SERB, Science and Engineering Research Board. The Indo-US Science and Technology Forum, IUSSTF. Indian Council of Medical Research, which most recently for infectious diseases has started giving grants, which is amazing, for both drug discovery, diagnostics, and devices. And for this grant, like the ICMR grant, they want you to go with a very strong team that has a clinician on it, because they're worried that a bunch of engineers coming to the table are only focused on technology or only focused on science, but not on the translation or the clinical aspect of what you're trying to do. So a good devices or diagnostics team is one that has a strong clinical connotation and transferability connotation in it. Stanford India Biodesign, all of you know of that. Innovate for Digital India Challenge, which is also a very interesting one. Like I said, many of these I had not heard of until I prepared for this talk. The Longitude Prize, which is out of the UK, focused on devices and diagnostics, specifically for antimicrobial resistance. There is a bias in my talk to you today because I come from the antimicrobial resistance or AMR background. There's a certain skew and bias towards companies in that space, but that doesn't mean I don't respect the whole space. It just means that my experiences come from that space, so I draw from that experience. But it's not that I'm only biased to that space. So Longitudinal Prize, for example, is in the antimicrobial resistance space. India Health Fund, very interesting. I know a bunch of companies talking to them right now for grants. And there's an Action COVID-19 team called actgrants.in, which I think is 50 lakhs to 1 crore, which is a grant potentially converting into equity type models, which is put together mainly from Bangalore to support companies that are doing interesting work for COVID-19. Again, like I said, whether any of these are pure grants or they're grants that convert into equity later, or they're a combination of grants and equity from day one, do not worry about it. Don't worry about diluting your company. If somebody's putting money on the table and it's a good person coming on the table, do not worry about dilution. That's a very old, archaic thought process. Funding is so hard. We have a 5 to 7 year horizon in devices companies. You need to take the product to market. You need to find partners. So be willing and open and flexible about combination of grants, grants to equity, debt, and a mixture thereof. It is very, very important that all of you in HDIC who are going through projects not only focus on national level grants. Keep your eyes open for global opportunities. I sit before you in this meeting as Bugworks, and my previous company was Cellworks, and now involved with 4 companies in the space. None of my companies could have survived without foreign grants because the Indian grant sizes are not very big, and the cash flow can be an issue with some of the Indian flow grants. You expect money and it may take 3 months, 4 months. You have to have that one person in your team who's constantly farming the world, if you will, looking for opportunities. I'll just give 3 examples right up front on antimicrobial resistance. The Longitude Prize, Carbex, which had funded Bugworks, which is combating antibiotic-resistant bacteria. This is US government funding. And then there's a Fleming Fund out of the UK. The US and the UK are leaders in worldwide funding for devices and diagnostics. And they're open. Sometimes people think sitting in HDIC, you can't write an NIH grant. You may not win it, but nothing stops you from writing an NIH grant or a MRC grant or a Japanese grant. Do not assume that sitting in India, you can't apply for foreign grants. We applied for everything. It may look helter-skelter, doesn't matter. When times are hard, money is hard to come by, competition is intense, you look everywhere. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which I used to check every month on their website when we were going to fundraising. Grand Challenges Canada, which has funded some companies out of India up to $150,000, a little more than a crore. And this is initial new award I've heard of from the Asia Pacific region, Singapore, I think, not sure, is the MedTech Innovator Award. And there's an N2D2 Mass Challenge in USA. When you look at this list, you may think, oh, I'm sitting in Chennai in HDIC. What does this mean? It means a lot. Go and study all your global funding opportunities. Today, there are very rarely a grant that says you can't apply if you're from India. It's very rare. Your chances of winning are hard, I agree, but you're not precluded from applying for these. I want to give you some examples of companies that have gone through raising money, excellent companies, award-winning companies. One of them is Biomonitor, which I spun out from Bugworks, and the other is a company called Module Innovation out of the Venture Center in Pune. So I picked one from CCAMP and one from Venture Pune to see how they went about. And then if you look at their journey, you will see a pattern where they carefully use grants to get through early valleys of death and start bringing in angel monies. Because most of the grants that you'll be talking to are not going to be freebie 50 lakhs, like big. They all want to see whether you can put matching money. If I have a grant for 1 crore that I want to give one of you in HDIC, will I give it to a team that is completely dependent on my 1 crore? Or will I give it to a team that already has shown some track record of raising 50 lakhs, either through their own monies or through friends, families, investors, etc. Most grants in the world want matching money, 70-30, 60-40. So I put 70%, you put 30%, or I put 50, you put 50. So don't think that grants are freebie money. They will expect that responsibility from you. Keep that in mind. And I share these 2 stories because I want you to use these as blueprints. You look at Biomonitor. By the way, Biomonitor is a company that we spun out of Bugworks. They're based out of CCAMP. The founder is originally from IISc and Yale, Janani. And they have a box that is able to take out viruses and bacteria from a given environment. It could be a room, it could be a hospital area, it could be a car. And this box is really smart. It uses very smart electrostatics by attracting this airflow through a box. And as the germs, bacteria, viruses through that airflow go through the box, we use a concept of zeta potentials because most of these bacteria and viruses are negatively charged. So we play with the charge to mass ratio, and we're able to attract these bugs to an electrostatic plate, and then it gets zapped. So if you look at it, we incorporated the company in 2014. First 50 lakhs came from DBT BIRAC, big, right? First prototype got made. So that means that when somebody looks at your plan, every grant should take you to some point of inflection, right? It's not a freebie to just say, let me just go off and do, interesting engineering, interesting science. It needs to have inflection. The grants and equity need to be timed with inflections. So the first inflection we had is that a prototype was made. Then an angel investor came in because now you have a prototype, you got an angel investor. Because of the angel investment, it became slightly easier to get the DBT SIBRI grant because they said, oh, you're real. You made a prototype, you have an angel investor, you look like a company DBT can put its money on. You're not just waiting for handouts. Immediately after that, we used that success to get an angel investment. And using that second angel investment, I think it was about 1 crore, if I'm not mistaken, we proved safety concerns on the device because it's electrostatics and you have to avoid arcing because of the high voltages. So we proved device safety. We started putting it in a hospital. In 2 hospitals we deployed. As soon as we deployed, that became easier to apply for the next DBT SIBRI because they said, oh, you have completed safety, you've put the devices in hospitals, you already showed you have 2 angel investors. Okay. See, just understand, guys who are on the call, winning grants is becoming harder and harder, not because of your engineering, only because they don't believe that this team can raise money, that this team can take the product to market. So you need to show those. Your engineering story and science story is maximum 25 to 30% of the equation. There's a remaining 70% that has nothing to do with your technical skills. Actually, I don't care about your technical skills. If your team doesn't look like something that is aggressive, that knows why it's raising grants, that has fallback plans in raising its own money, go hungry, start deployment, early inflections, that's the team I want to bet in, right? Oh, they have great engineering and science, that's given, all of you do. But just look at how each of these inflections are. After this, we went to a successful clinical field trial 1 year after the SIBRI. And based on that, first time we just closed a pre-series A investment last month, yes, June, with a Japanese investor, right? The same Japanese investors that were talking to me for BugWorks started talking to Biomonitor. Being in Bangalore, there is an advantage over Chennai that many more foreign investors visit Bangalore, particularly pre-COVID. And in one of those visits in CCamp, we were able to convince Japanese 6 months of due diligence and they invested. So look at the story. And not every story has to follow the same, but I want you to think and say, oh, I see how they are mixing and matching investments with POCs, with inflections, with grants. It has to be the playbook that we use. Next is Module Innovations, a company that I really believe in. I have nothing to do with this company beyond, supporting them and helping the CEO. Same thing. They started from Able and they won 5 lakhs. I was in the Able. I'm still in Able, and we gave them the award in 2012. That's like what, 8 years ago. Based on that 5 lakhs, they incorporated a company as they graduated. They won the big in 2015. Then they win the DST, NST, EDB in 2016. The IIGP award that I spoke about, which is, what is IIGP? Let me make sure I don't, IIGP was India Innovation Growth Program. Ah, it's awesome. I didn't even know that Lockheed Martin, the United States, and Tata Trust were coming together. These guys cracked it, IIGP. So I come back to Module Innovations. They won the IIGP, or I think around 75 lakhs, but not 100% sure. Then they wrote for an international award, the Longitudinal Prize for Discovery Award. They won it in the UK, 100K pounds, which I think that time was 80 lakhs. Then it became easy to win SIBRI. Despite having hundreds of applications going through SIBRI, these guys got chosen not for their engineering alone, but because of the track record you see before. Then they wrote for Grand Challenges Canada, win it. Design Impact Award. They came back to BIRAC for the BIRAC Nesta Award. and then they won the Bill and Melinda Gates Sentinels Award, and then most recently Carbex. By the way, this is the second company in India to win Carbex. The first is, if I may share with humanity, is Bugworks, my company, and Carbex came to India through Bugworks. And the second company, which just got awarded last month, is Modular Innovation. Again, look at this story. Right? These chaps started as students, they incorporate, and you see that their grant story has got national, international, and there are points of inflection happening in between. And they did one round of funding, I think, right after Design Impact Award. And guess when their next round of funding is going to be? Now, because they won Carbex. So you use grants as pivots, right? As multiple pivots to move forward. And a grant can never be the only source by which you run a company. The DBT doesn't owe you or me anything. They're helping us. They have spawned off 400 companies. And as I often tell the DBT, I have the greatest admiration for DBT, but by funding 400 companies each with 50 lakhs to 1 crore, there is an issue that many of us hit the precipice at 50 lakhs or 1 crore or 2 crores. And then you can't come down the mountain, you need to figure out a parachute to jump. And that's not always easy. So I hope we fund less number of companies, or we fund same number of companies, but we fund them deep. And I think DBT is moving towards that type of funding. But we have to live with what we have, and extremely appreciative for what BIRAC and DBT have done for the ecosystem. No DBT, no ecosystem. It's as simple as that. We look at Bugworks. We first started thinking about Bugworks in my previous company, Cellworks, when I started working with AstraZeneca. We got £1 million grant from Wellcome Trust that allowed us to work on a TV program called NC4. And because that program was successful, we actually spun out and created Bugworks. So a grant was the reason why Cellworks and AstraZeneca India came together, funded by Wellcome, successful TB drug discovery program that spawned out Bugworks. Right? So grants can be so similar. And then we got the first BIRAC grant from Bugworks, BIG, and a bit, not big amounts, but it mattered the most at that point in time, right? And the multiplier effect of getting a BIRAC grant is really good. And then we were the first company to win Carbex, and that changed our company. As I said, I would have closed Bugworks and gone, because there is no funding in India for drug discovery. For novel antibiotics, there's no funding in India or in most parts of the world. And with the type of funding DBT does, you cannot do a drug discovery company. It's not possible. So I changed the structure of the company and made United States the headquarters, put the IP in the US. India became a subsidiary of the US. And lo and behold, we started talking to foreign grants and we won Carbex. And since then, we have also won an NIH, NIAID grant, which is National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Disorders. So I would say 50% of the funding that Bugworks has won to date is grants. And it's still not easy. We are not yet a success story. We just have a few years more experience than you do. But I've made a lot of mistakes, and that's why I'm having this conversation with you guys, so you don't follow this mistake. And I put this slide on Bugworks just to let you know, we're only 25 people in Bugworks sitting in Bangalore, but we work with the whole universe. We work with 30 partners all over the world. I want you guys in HTIC, as biotech entrepreneurs, as medtech entrepreneurs, just the whole world is open. You can only be known worldwide by connecting with people, by aggressively cold calling people, talking to the best in your line anywhere they may be. Sometimes in India, getting academia and industry to collaborate is very hard, right? And Bugworks has not been that successful. When we go outside the country, we've been phenomenally successful in getting the best academic and industry coming together. So we have good support in India as well as abroad. Some things are easy in India, some things are not easy in India. The things that are not easy in India, you better look elsewhere. Remember, you're solving a global problem for a global audience, for a global market. Any company that is only looking at an Indian market for survival or looking at the Indian public health program for survival is a failure. 90% we will fail. If we depend that we are going to go sell it to Tamil Nadu, healthcare department is going to pay, and I'm going to create a successful business, I'm sorry. You have to think global. You have to make India your hotbed to create your proof of concept, and then look at partners all over the world who can take your products there, get the FDA approval, sell your products there, buy off your IP so you can make some money, etc. The bio devices space is the biggest issue when you talk to investors outside, and I tell them that there is HTIC, or there is CCAMP, or there's BBC, or there is IKP, or there's Venture Center. They say, show me one success story. Please show me a success story of who is selling thousands and thousands of boxes, making good amount of money, who has been acquired, who has gone IPO, who has exited, where is there an M&A in devices and discovery, and I get dumbfounded. I don't have answers. So we are all humbled by the fact that we work in very tough areas, but we are solving very important problems for society, so we should feel very proud of ourselves. But the reason I'm saying this is I want us to keep the whole world open. You know, Chennai is just not even a drop in the bucket, and HTIC is a small micro drop in the bucket. You know, get out of your comfort zone and reach everywhere. You have no idea how many cold calls I personally would have made when we wanted to get Bugworks connected to such an ecosystem. Many people bang the phone on you and say, don't disturb me. Who the hell are you? It doesn't matter. The moment you want to be an entrepreneur in life sciences, in devices, or drug discovery or diagnostics, you have to be aggressive, and you cannot depend on India. As much as I love India and I'm a Bharat, Mahan, you can't depend on India. This is a very tough place to do business, but it's a great place to do innovation. And you have great ecosystems like HTIC or CCAMP, supporters like DBT, supporters like ICMR. So there's some good things here, but making money, selling your products, you need to think global. Use a global market and then make your product affordable in India. That's the best case scenario. Then you can satiate your social pangs of what is to give something back to my motherland. At the same time, create a sensible business that can stand on its own. The funding trajectory that we took in Bugworks, the startup funding was friends and family. Co-founders put their own money and then BIRAC. Then we got seed funding through Baxter Ventures in the US and through some angels. And then the Series A funding came from Japanese investors and one Indian investor, 314 Capital, which is Mr. Mohandas Pai's family fund. And the Series B funding also came from Japanese. We are thankfully the first company that the country of Japan has invested into in India is Bugworks in life sciences. Of course, in electronics and all, there's plenty of stories, but in life sciences. And heavy reliance on global grant funding. All of us should aspire to be 50-50. So 4 years from today, when I speak to you guys, you should say that every $100 that has come into your company, 50s come from grants and 50s come from equity or investors. That is so important for our survival and credibility. I'm going to go through a very quick 5-minute pitch. And although the topic today is not how to pitch to VCs, I find that I would say 7 out of 10 companies in the devices diagnostic spaces that I mentor in the Bangalore ecosystem fall horribly flat on their face when they come to pitch to me, right? And what I'm going to share with you comes not because I'm smart. It comes because I was so horrible, right? Some of the best lessons you can learn are from people who sucked in what they did and made many mistakes and then get up, brush themselves off and say, oh my God, right? And then here is a 5-minute pitch that talks about how to be very, very focused, and keep this in mind whether you're talking to a grant body or to an investor. Title slide, introduction of yourself and your company, what your company does. Some beautiful logo, product image, one tagline. I see some title slides having 15 different lines on it. Full expansion of HTIC, address, pin code, forget it. Just a logo, image of a product, tagline. That looks really good, right? I'm going to share these slides with Archana and Dr. Singaram. And if someone finds these valuable, please do share it with your network. Problem statement. What real world problem am I solving? Remember, people only have 5 minutes, boss. Maybe grant administrators got 10 minutes. Everybody today is a WhatsApp generation, Twitter generation. 5 நிமிஷத்துக்குள்ள 10 நிமிஷத்துக்குள்ள, if you're not able to convey complex concepts in a very palatable, simple form, that this is a solution that I'm providing and somebody is willing to pay for it, so wasting your time. Keep your slides very, very sparse. On the slide, simple keywords images, maybe a graph of what problem you're trying to solve. So that means in 2 slides, there's a title. I already know what the problem is. And if I find your space interesting, I'm interested. If I find your space not interesting, I'm going to have my cup of coffee and move on. Solution. What is the solution in simple words? I have been able to crack this. The first time RT-PCR to diagnose this, whatever the thing. Simple solution. Simple is the best way to go, right? Less is better nowadays. On the slide, an image of your product or service. That's it. That's a solution. What traction have I got? Am I early stage? If I talk to an angel investor, I don't expect traction. But if you're going for serious money, 3, 4, 5 crores, you need to say, you don't need to just believe what I'm saying. Here's my traction that I've got. Who can potentially be my early customers? I've been speaking to hospitals. I've been speaking to device manufacturers. These could be my early customers. How do you get to them? People in India have very, very limited networks. I want to know if you have spoken to GE, you have spoken to Siemens, you have spoken to Baxter, you have spoken to Medtronic. Oh, really? That's fantastic. How did you get to Baxter? That's an interesting conversation you can have with the grants administrator. It's like, oh, wow, sitting in HTIC, this chap has reached out to New York, has reached out to the Bay Area, and has actually connected with a potential investor or potential customer. This company sounds interesting. I'm interested. I want to know more. How would they be willing to pay? It's a question I'll want to know, right? Yeah, great stuff. You have a device that's able to reduce bacterial count, or you have a device that's quickly measuring sugar samples compared to AccuCheck outside. How much is it going to cost? Who's going to pay for it? Start thinking about it very early. In India, we are so good in technology and engineering. We are so lousy when it comes to who's going to fund me, who's going to buy my product, how am I going to make money, how am I going to exit. So now is the time. This is 2.0 for India, post-COVID. Opportunity for all of us to start thinking like how aggressive Western world thinks about devices space. On the slide, simple graph of customer acquisition or collaboration acquisition and any growth if you have growth by this stage. If you don't have growth, that's fine. But they know that you're thinking about it. What is the industry focus? The opportunity, right? What is the total market? What is the growth potential? If I come, I think I can take 10% of the market in the first 3 years and then add another 2 to 3% every year because I think Siemens device lacks this and I can bring it in. Or I'm good for emerging market. I'm going to steal market share from a large player in the emerging market because mine works on the lowest possible power supply. Easy to work because of not requiring trained manpower. What have you? What is the addressable market? So total market, and then I'm addressing this segment of the market. On the slide, simple graphs pie charts. For the longest time, I didn't realize that the best presentations are slides that have 3 to 4 bullets, simple taglines. That's it. Because if the person is interested, they're going to anyway say, oh, can you get into your science? Can you get into your engineering, etc. Right? So very important, keep it simple. Competitive edge. What is my secret sauce? Why am I different? So on the slide, key differentiating component. I am using this, PCR technique, or I am using a new way of counting cells, or I'm bringing in electrostatics to do something. My key differentiating component. Most important, what does my team look like? Right? Best engineers from IIT. I don't care. I'm looking for a team. I'm not looking for engineers. Okay. A team where somebody's focused on fundraising, somebody's focused on ecosystem, business development, somebody's focused on engineering, somebody's focused on connecting with the hospital so clinical inputs come in. That's a good team. So team is a composition, not just of smart engineers, but people who come with slightly different backgrounds that you can bring together. Profile highlighting relevant skill sets, 1 line each for the team. Funding, how much money have you raised so far? If nothing, that's okay. How much am I raising now? Don't talk about valuation. In India, lots of devices companies come to me saying, sir, should I ask for 2 crore, 3 crore? Nothing. Let the market decide your valuation. I'm sorry if that sounds insulting. I don't believe any valuation numbers from any of us, including me, because it's so hard to show comparable successes. exists. So have some idea and say, I'm going to give up 15% of my company, or I'm going to give up 18% of my company, and work from that perspective. If you're in a strong position, you can say, my value is 5 crores. If you're not in a strong position, do not speak about valuation. Get them to be interested and then move over into valuation with reasonable expectations. Please remember, Indian entrepreneurs, it's the old style thinking that I need to hold 51% of the company and be a majority owner. Gone. Because 100% of 0 equals 0. 10% of 100 million equals 10 million. You're creating a company to last. You're cracking a problem. It really doesn't matter what percentage you hold. If you're very desperate, it will show to the other side. So don't get into valuations, because it will show that you're desperate. Who are your current investors and advisors? On the slide, simple numbers. Simple. I'm raising so much money. These are my people who have funded me so far. Why am I raising money now? Why not last year? Why not next year? Why am I doing it now? I just closed a grant. I just had this POC. What is unique about my team and combination of team and circumstance? Remember, success is a combination of team, product, and circumstances. And one needs to be aware of those circumstances. What is the call to action? On the slide, simple statements. So the summary of the 5 minutes is your top 3 points you want your investors to remember. You're not a member. 3 bulleted points. That's it, right? And then a summary just says that I'm solving this problem. This is my unique value proposition. I think this can be a $10 million company. That's it. That's your summary. No going into heavy complex block diagrams, graphs. Nobody cares. My last slide is guidelines for life sciences fundraising. Please think beyond big and buy rack. DBT is not your uncle or my uncle or your auntie or my auntie. They're here to provide basic seed orientation. It's our responsibility to build companies, not theirs. Be thankful that you are in a fantastic incubator that's world-class like HTIC, as I am in CCAMP. 10 years ago, we didn't even have these incubators. Next funding plan should start thinking the day one you close funding. When I closed my last round of funding, 1st of April, raging pandemic, and we closed $7.5 million for Bugworks. I promise you, the next day, which is a Tuesday or Wednesday morning, I already started my pitching for next year fundraise. Best time to raise money is when you don't need the money. Counterintuitive, right? Best time to raise the money is when you don't need it. Your body language is good, you're strong, you're in a position of strength. Team composition. You need to have people who are dreamers, executors, networkers. If you bring 3 sharp IIT guys to the table, I will not fund the company. However smart IIT guys may be. Because I need to see one dreamer, I need to see one executor, I need to see a networker. Backup ideas. Beyond the present technology, if it doesn't work, what is your backup idea? Potential failure points. To the outside world, you're the optimist. But to your inside your company, you need to be a worst critic. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. Be pessimistic. Be a worst critic internally. And think and plan for worst case scenarios of the company, right? My technology is not the best in the world. That's how internally we challenge our teams. Crisp storytelling to balance technology, application, market. Most important. Evangelical energies to carry your investment for 5 to 7 years. That's all. Most important in devices, diagnostics, and drug discovery. Evangelical energies. Okay, I'm solving diabetes. I came up with a new kit in HTIC that is half the cost of AccuCheck, and far more accurate sensitivity, specificity for the diabetic market. Then you become the diabetic evangelist for 5 years. Corporate governance. Please run your companies, even inside HTIC, as if it's a publicly traded company. Every board meeting, every statutory filing, you need to treat your company as if it is going to be audited tomorrow. Treat it like that. Many Indian companies come to me, everything looks good. They're going to sign off a check. We go through their paperwork on finances, on statutory and all that. It's crappy. Their uncle is holding some shares. IP sitting inside IIT Madras has not been transferred. Horrible. Keep it clean. And one person in the company should treat and behave as if your company is fully about corporate governance. It's as important as for technology. Please think of a scientific advisory board that has iconic personalities, and you have to think outside of your ecosystem. And these personalities are not going to give you gyan. They want to open doors. And your CEO's job for early stage companies like ours is Chief Ecosystem Officer. Very, very important. Who is speaking about your company outside HTIC? Outside Gindi and Adyar, who knows your company? Who's speaking about it? Which all networks am I plugged in? That's not HTIC's job. That's our job to reach out and plug into ecosystem. Thanks for this opportunity. I wanted to finish in 35, 40 minutes. Perfect. We did it in 35 minutes. Very, very happy to take questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the presentation. So we'll go for the questions from the participants. We have a question from Nikunj Gaur. Nikunj, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
I think he's on mute, right?
Nikunj, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question? Can you please unmute?
Oh, you're asking me?
No, sir. I'm asking Nikunj.
It's already posted. Just read it out. It's fine.
Yes, sir. So there's a question from Nikunj. He's working on a fuelless, even without electricity engine, but due to certain financial issues, he can't make and register the patent. So he's requesting suggestion from you, sir, on this.
Specific suggestions are very hard because it's company specific. Through Dr. Sungaram and Archana, you can connect them via email to me. There are some folks we can talk. Not every problem will have solutions. I am definitely not a Midas, but we may have a little bit better network that you may have here in Bangalore. If you have an interesting idea, I will bounce it off the network here to see if there are takers. Okay. Dr. Sungaram, just help me with one thing. I want to ask Dr. Sungaram for one question. All these young entrepreneurs who are working in HTIC, the IP belongs to their company or it's still part of the IIT network?
No, none of them are not necessarily they're from IIT. It's open to everybody. And we are not only having, by the way, with HTIC people here, we open it to all the Pioneers clusters.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I'm happy. The more the merrier. I didn't
know that.
We
have probably representation from many other incubators online at the moment.
Okay.
And it's all shared with the Pioneers incubators. So our own incubators, 2 or 3 of them are on as well, IIT Madras incubators.
Okay, fantastic. I'm happy. And for everybody, I use HTIC's name just as an exemplar. You know what I mean? It means the whole ecosystem.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So moving on to the next question from Sonam Pankaj. He's asking, what are the core important points to be taken care before applying a grant?
Okay. Writing of grants is an art. It's not easy. Just because you're a good engineer or scientist, you can't write grants. There are actually professionals in this country and outside where you can pay a reasonable fee and they write grants. Actually, writing grant is an art. It's not that they're going to cook up a story. It's your idea and your intellect, but it needs to be written very well. The grant administrator on the other side wants to see 3 things. One is, in a grant format, I would say 60 to 70% is going to be how good your engineering and science is. Then comes, have you clearly written what problem is being addressed by your innovation or idea that you're working on, what market you're thinking about, which means who's going to pay when you come out, and the fact that you're already thinking about finances. I'm very scared because I've sat on the grant administrators team and we see wonderful presentations coming from all over India. But then when we read it, it doesn't look like this team is financially savvy. Then we say, man, fantastic bunch of scientists, girls and guys, great bunch of scientists or engineers. How are they going to fund this company? If they're only going to depend on my grant, what happens after my grant runs out? I'd rather give it to somebody who's only asking me for 70%, not for 100%, because they're going to fund the 30%. So I want to see some strength in having thought through the finances, at least saying I'm going to think about it, and something about the fact that you're going to take on responsibility for making sure your company succeeds financially. I don't know how else to put it, but that needs to come through in your grant application.
Thank you, sir. Hope that answers Sonam's question. So the next question from Srikar. His question is, in the process of raising angel or VC funds from specifically US and Europe, is it mandatory to incorporate the company outside the India?
Great question. Fantastic question. Not really do it, but today people are investing into India, but India is not an easy country to invest into. With all the great things we have done, there is still complications in coming into India. If you're really serious about growing your company and you think you need large amount of money it's important to start thinking about Singapore or the US as a headquarter, with India as a fully owned subsidiary. You don't need to do it initially. Please do it after you have some traction, before Series A, not in angel round, but before Series A. The reason I tell you not to do it the first 3 years, 2 to 3 years, is because the moment you make your headquarters outside India, you can't get DBT funding. I wish Dr. Sanjay Saxena was on this line.
Yes.
This problem really. Oh, hi, Dr.
Sanjay is joined. I didn't disturb you. Hi, Sanjay.
Oh, hey.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful friend of mine and the entire industry. Hello, Sanjay. Always pleasure.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, my friend. DBT will not be able to fund you the moment DBT can't do much about this. This is an antiquated, archaic rule from the Indian government that says, although you're Indian, everybody working in the company is Indian. The moment you make your headquarters outside, one particular rule, you fail. That says that more than 51% of the company has to be Indian owned. But the moment the foreign company owns your Indian company, you will find it very hard to get DBT grants. So for the first few years, when you're depending upon, where you're depending upon DBT, please keep your headquarters here. As you're moving to Series A and you need $3, $4, $5 million, then consider the switching. It's not 100% required, but I'm afraid that most foreign investors still find it scary to come into India. That's not our fault or DBT's fault. That's a larger discussion for another day.
Thank you, sir. So the next question from Sridhara R. Walti is asking, since you have, yes, sir, can you please go ahead with your question, sir? Sridhara, sir.
I can ask it. Hi, Anand. Good evening.
Hi, Sridhara. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I know we met last time at long ago in Ranbaxy. That's a different story.
I know.
I know. By the time the innovators and the invest come into the 5-minute pitch, they're pretty much confident on what they're doing. But most of the investors, when I mean, I know you sit in a lot of committees and meetings and everything for the grantings. When you see the investors present, they're not investors, sorry, innovators present, what are the main points that they miss? Or what kind of hints that you can give it to them so that they can make better presentations?
Brilliant question and very hard question. No easy answer. Like I said, I don't have answers to everything. I can only share what I know, Sridhara.
Of course.
What I find is really missing is I finish a 25-minute presentation with outstanding engineering diagrams and graphs, and I scratch my head with 3 questions. Please listen carefully all. First question is, what problem are they even solving here? What problem are they trying to solve that even needed a solution? 2, because I didn't understand, I means the committee, since I didn't understand the first thing, the second is, what market or where are they going to be selling this, or is this, just
feasible?
Good science, feasible? And 3, they want to say, can this team somehow raise money outside of the grants? And I know that's a little bit of a subjective thing I'm saying here, Sridhara, because there is no mathematical equation, no algebraic equation to say you are fundable, you are not fundable, correct?
Yes.
It's a body language. And the body language cannot just be science engineering. It needs to be one of saying, I'm going to make a business. I've come to you for you to help me. Finally, we're all creating businesses. If you don't have a business, how can you do social innovation? If you're always hungry, as Vivekananda said, we cannot preach Vedanta to a hungry man or woman. So every time they come and pitch me, I have a TB diagnostics. I'm going to sell it for 5 rupees. I'm like, you're not going to see the light of the day, young lady or young man. So please think of these 3 points, Sridhara, and I hope that answered your question.
No, because I myself is a reviewer for any of these presentations. I of this one. No, I'm just wondering, is there a recommendation that we can give it to the BIRAC or anybody to bring these presentations?
Excellent point. And I'm sorry I'm cutting you short because others have questions.
I know.
And I'm sure Sanjay will take it back, and Dr. Renu and team are phenomenally proactive and always looking for inputs. I think you will hear him speak in his segment, and you will probably hear him say these things. And BIRAC is not just looking for science and engineering. They're already they're giving templates, Sridhara, and telling by the time you come and pitch, you better think of market. You better think of how you're going to fund the company post grants or pre-grants. So it's good. Bayrak has also made a lot of changes and a very, very industry tune. But you're right. I want entrepreneurs to be harsh on themselves. First of all, we need to be harsh on ourselves.
One has
I'll
to
tell
be
you one
level.
thing to everyone here. I just looked at the number. For Bugworks,
Yep.
we are not yet a success story. We just have a few more years and gray hair compared to you guys, or no hair compared to you guys. But we did 200 presentations before we closed our Series B. Just so that you all know, I looked at the total presentation count between Series A and B, 200. So whatever
Yep.
pride I had in myself as an entrepreneur, destroyed. Whatever pride my science team had that they're a crack team to do AMR, destroyed. Humbled.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Sridhar.
Thank you, sir. So we have another question from Shrikar. Shrikar, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with this question?
Hi, Anand. This Shrikar here. So we also operate from Bangalore, and we are also closely associated with CCamp and funded by Bayrak throughout
Very
our
nice.
journey. So one of the questions, so at this stage, we are starting to, as you rightly said, the grants money is purely to prove your concept and for your initial traction. So we are at a stage right now, we are speaking to certain global VCs. One of the things which we, when we ask for a certain money and saying that we would do a initial feasibility study in India and then look at globally going to Europe and US, one of the things which they're quite skeptical is about our valuation, which seems to be
Yes.
very low for them, and also the kind of money which we are raising as well. So I just wanted, because you have gone through the same journey, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that as well.
I will be very happy to have a session with you or a cup of coffee in Bangalore. It's a very tough question that you're asking. And if I don't have the context, I'll be giving you a BS answer, which I don't want and you don't want. But let me just tell you in general, you asked a very, very important question. Valuation is a very dangerous game. You don't want to be too low, you don't want to be too high. And by now, I think we already know in early stage, people are looking at, 10 to 15% when they come in the angelish pre-Series A. A Series A investor wants at least 15 to 18 to 20% when he or she puts money in your company. They're all working backwards, not with our spreadsheets. So if you came to me today with your idea and your early stage, I'll say, you know what, boss, I need at least 15% in your company. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Okay, 15%. You want 1 crore of my money? Give me 15%. That becomes your valuation. You understand? That's how it is driven in life sciences. Until we go to Series A and an institutional investor comes and sets the valuation, until that point in time, valuation is a complete lala wala game. Right? It's complete lala wala game. So be careful about it. And again, happy to speak offline. There is no easy answer.
Sure, thank you.
Am I supposed to close the presentation?
No, yeah, that's fine. It's okay.
Somebody send me some note. Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, sir. So at the interest of time, we'll take the last question from Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen, can you please unmute yourself and go ahead with your question?
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. I'll just keep it brief. Many, startups work on problems where they know that they may probably get funded, but what about instances such as rare diseases, which do not have like a huge market appeal, and big companies may not be interested in investing? What would be the best way to go about that?
Okay, if there is no big market and you already know it, then you should think of it as a lifestyle business. It's not one that is funded by institutional investors, etc. To put such a company, then the person, the lady or the guy going into such a company should start thinking of it like a social innovation or a lifestyle business where you can't make 4x, 8x, 10x multiples. You can make decent revenue and survive. Most of those companies are self-funded and bootstrapped big time. Innovators go without salaries for 2-3 years, then end up getting some grants, finish a POC, start making small revenues on a shoestring budget. But it's a lifestyle business. You don't have to worry about investors sitting on your board and breathing down your neck. So think of it as a lifestyle orientation or lifestyle business. Self-financing, no other way for that, because it's very, very hard. There are 1 or 2 philanthropic funds now that are funding your kind of work. I'm not able to recollect their names. Tata Trust, for example, I would write to, and there are some funds like that like to fund this kind of lifestyle businesses that are solving a big social innovation. Investors will not touch this kind of business, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have last 4 minutes, so I just want to have the last question from Shibi Chakravarti Kannan. Shibi Chakravarti, can you please go ahead with your question?
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Anand. This is Dr. Kannan from Theranosys. I think we met a couple of times in the Bangalore C-Camp program.
Yes.
Yeah. So just a quick question, maybe unrelated to the entrepreneurship questions that everybody is asking. Are you working on anything to do with antimicrobial resistance in the COVID-19?
Yes. Extremely good question, and I'm happy you asked, just so that all of you know. I was very fortunate to get together with a bunch of scientists starting February. So it's been about 5 months now, and we've cracked the COVID-19 on a fabric. And we just announced a product called Eye Shield. And I'm not trying to you to buy my product, but it's a mask that is actively killing COVID-19. It took us 4 months to get it tested in RGCB Trivandrum, Minvax in IISc, University of South Florida, and C-Camp. So that's one product I'm working on. And for Bugworks, I hope we can announce to the world in another 2 months some interesting antiviral. We have been antibacterial focused so far. I hope we'll have some news for you all on antiviral.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It was really a great session, sir. Thank you. And now I would like to hand it over to Muthu, sir.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Great questions. And if you have any additional questions, please email it through Archana. I'll be happy to give whatever little I know.
Hey, Anand, thank you very much. It's been a great afternoon for us, and I mean, it's been great learning even for me, and I think it was fantastic the way you delivered it. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. I hope you can hang around if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. I'll just go on mute.
We are going to have the man from BIRAC who's